allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
12th graders Beverly Williams and Sharice Del Campo will now say the Pledge of Allegiance in Spanish.
Yo prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios entera con libertad y justicia para todos.
You may be seated. Hello and welcome faculty, staff, student body, Palmer High School committee, and esteemed guests. My name is William Partello, and I'm the senior class president of the class of 2024. I will be joined by Hannah Hong, senior class vice president for the class of 2024, to MC today's celebration. We are honored to be speaking with you today on such an important occasion. We're here today to honor our service members and to remember the sacrifices they have made and the courage it takes to defend, honor, and protect our country. The writer Mitchell de Montaigne once said, "Valor is stability, not of legs and arms, but of courage and soul." We're here today to honor our heroes, to remember their achievements, their courage, and their dedication, and to say thank you for their sacrifices. Thinking of our heroes who join us in this group today, and those who are here in spirit, a person can't help but feel awed by the enormity of which we encounter. We stand in the midst of patriots and the family and friends of those who have nobly served. I'd like to ask the service members and veterans who are here to please stand. Thank you for answering the call to duty. You have made our armed forces the most respected in the world. You may be seated. Now I'd like to ask the family members of any service members to stand. We know you have lived through difficult times and often took the heavy load to keep the home fires burning. Thank you for what you've done. Please be seated.
I would like to introduce 8th grader Lainey Babinski to read the history of Veterans Day. In 1918, World War I ended on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The entire world celebrated. An armistice, a truce, was signed declaring the war to end all wars was finally over. The next year, on November 11th, the U.S. called the day Armistice Day in memory of all the men and women involved in World War I. On Armistice Day, surviving soldiers marched in parades through their hometowns. Politicians and veterans gave speeches and had ceremonies in thanks for the peace that had been won.
Please welcome 6th grader Olivia Drunowski, who will now read the poem entitled, "What Veterans Do for a Country."
The greatest sacrifices veterans have made for their nation do not simply occur in the war zone. They happen quietly, without fanfare, without acknowledgement. They occur in little homes and living rooms, with just those left behind as witnesses. Everything a veteran must do is a sacrifice, from deserting their lives to venturing onto the combat zone.
The sacrifice of time is similarly as essential as the heart of it shown in war, and often at times significantly more troublesome. These penances are what make veterans special among others. Our country's veterans vow their lives to our defense, so that in their non-attendance we can keep on living in freedom and make the most of our chance in life. Veterans are separate from our regular struggles. They represent our nation as a whole, people of every religion, culture, and belief coming together and standing strong. They do not vow themselves to us just because it is their obligation. They have a profound, situated belief that this nation is worth fighting for, and they volunteer to be the ones to step forward in its defense and protect it. The patriotism in their souls is a thing that enables regular day-to-day life to proceed unhampered. It is the manner by which they progress and do what they would for the benefit of the nation as a whole, not exactly what they would need themselves. The veterans in our country show the most valued trait in civic virtue, selflessness, the determination to stand themselves for the country's protection. Veterans give their whole lives to the young for human society, with the expectation that we do the same.
Seventh grader Riley Santiago will now read In Flanders Field. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scare heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw, the torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Please welcome 7th graders Mason Killam and R.J. Perkins to share the story of the fallen soldier table.
Good morning. I'd like if everyone could take a look around. There are so many of us gathered here today to honor our veterans, but we would be remiss if we did not take a moment to pause and remember those who cannot be with us today. As you entered the gym, you may have noticed a table set for one.
This small table set for one is in a place of honor. This table is our way of acknowledging that members of the military are missing from our midst. There are those killed in action, prisoners of war, and those that are listed as missing in action. They are unable to be with us, so we remember them through the many symbols at this table.
The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to answer their country's calls to arms. The single rose in the vase represents those families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who have fallen. The yellow ribbon represents loyalty and waiting for those who are serving away from home. The taper candle represents the light of hope.
A slice of lemon is on the bread plate. This is to remind us of their bitter fate. The salt is symbolic of their tears, theirs and ours. The glass is embittered. They cannot toast with us. The chair is empty. They're not here. Let's have a moment of silence in honor of our fallen soldiers. Thank you.
Sixth grader T.J. Smola will now read the poem Veterans Day.
On Veterans Day, we honor all who answer to a service call. Soldiers young and soldiers old fought for freedom, brave and bold. Some have lived while others died, and all of them deserve our pride. We're proud of all the soldiers who kept thinking of red, white, and blue. They fought for us and all our rights. They fought through many days and nights. And though we may not know each name, We thank all veterans just the same.
We have a special performance by 12th grader Andrew Haley today. Andrew will perform America the Beautiful.
Alright, we were trying to think of how he wanted to play this song, America the Beautiful, and we were trying to think of a relation of it, and the bass is like the heartbeat of the band, and we think in relation that this America the Beautiful is like the heartbeat for
We would now like to give a warm welcome to Town Councilor Mark Kochi, who will now share some thoughts with us.
All right, I wanted to make sure that mic was off before I blew your ears out. As always, it's an honor to celebrate Veterans Day with Palmer High. This is my third time here, and every year there's just more and more people. It's just really touching. I just really appreciate that. On behalf of the town council and the town administration, we can't thank you enough. I'm proud to be here. I'm always proud to support the school, our community, and our veterans and their families. And more importantly, we're all very proud of you. So I kind of want to flip the script here, right? This whole day is about everybody thanking veterans. You know, you guys are doing great with all the presentations, and the agenda is just packed. But I think it's important to know, like, what that why is. Like, why did this group of people do this? It's not asked a lot, at least outside of our circles. So I just wanted you to think about it. Why did we join the military? Some of us didn't enlist, some were drafted. But regardless, they still had something here that was pushing them forward to keep them going. So what is our why? You can look around, we're quite a diverse crew. We all have different backgrounds, different services, different heritage, different upbringings. We all serve different missions, some wartime, some peacetime, some preparing for war, anti-terrorism, narco-terrorism. I think if you follow the media in the past 10 years, 20 years, there's many, many, many different activities that we've all been involved in. All of us answered a call. Through our courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty and integrity, and a desire to serve a cause larger than ourselves, we did make that commitment, right? We sacrificed to preserve our way of life, our freedom, the preservation of our republic. All of you, everyone here, everyone in town, everyone in the state, country, that's our why. That's why we did this. You have your right to an education, you have your freedom of speech, you have your right to practice whatever religion you want, you have your right to bear arms and protect yourselves and your family, you have a right to own a house, own a job, have an opinion, you have your right to be you, right? Not a lot of countries have that. Most of us have seen that. We've been in country with that darker side. So the biggest thing that I would ask, and I think most of us here would agree, is that you take that back and you think about that during your daily life, going back to class, going back home. Think about what that why means to you. Right? It wasn't just a, let's go have fun and blow stuff up. It was, we've got people here that we care about. And the biggest thank you that I could personally take away is that you make a choice. You decide to become involved in the community, in politics, whatever. Just keep moving forward, keep preserving that way of life, right? Because there's generations coming behind you. And I don't know if you're looking around, but it's at risk right now. On behalf of all of us here, again, I can't thank you enough. There's a parade coming up Saturday. I believe there's an event at the Senior Center following this. Just remember that we've lived your history. Everything that you're studying, we've lived it. And it's your job to make the next generations following, understand that history and why we have things the way we have today. So get out there and make a choice, make a motion to yourself, right? Take some action and be involved. That's pretty much what I have today. So thank you.
Thank you. Sixth graders Elijah Marquez and Ben Henney will now read about the Purple Heart.
These Purple Heart will always be part of freedom's history. But deep inside, a firm pride for all who gave, the brave who died. They showed their breast for liberty. They stood for us with certitude. Their wounded war, their purple hearts, we dare to care and do their part. Some bore a wound which took their life, while others lived past war's home's night. True patriots, they faced their call to keep our nation strong for all. Deep scars of war are carried by those who return and those who cry. Pray for the brave, their loved ones too. Thank God for heroes and all of you. Please welcome 7th graders Chloe Slamani and Adeline Griswold, who will share the story behind the Star-Spangled Banner. One rainy September 13, 1814, British warships sent a downpour of shells and rockets onto Fort McHenry in Baltimore Harbor, relentlessly pounding the American fort for 25 hours. The bombardment known as the Battle of Baltimore came only weeks after the British had attacked Washington, D.C., burning the Capitol, the Treasury, and the President's house. It was another chapter in the ongoing War of 1812. A week earlier, Francis Scott Key, a 35-year-old American lawyer, had boarded the flagger ship of the British fleet on the Chesapeake Bay in hopes of persuading the British to release a friend who had been recently arrested. Key's tactics were successful, but because he and his companions had gained knowledge of the impending attack on Baltimore, the British did not let them go. They allowed the Americans to return to their own vessel, but continued guarding them. Under their scrutiny, Key watched on September 13th as the barrage of Fort McHenry began 8 miles away.
When darkness arrived, Key saw only red erupting in the night sky. Given the scale of the attack, he was certain the British would win. The hours passed slowly, but in the clearing smoke of the dawn's early light, on September 14th, he saw the American flag, not the British Union Jack flying over the fort, announcing an American victory. Key put his thoughts on paper while still on board the ship, setting his words to the tune of a popular English song. Key's poem, now called The Star-Spangled Banner, appeared in print across the country, immortalizing his words and forever naming the flag it celebrated.
Our band will now perform the Star-Spangled Banner. We are honored to have District Senator Jacob Oliver here today to share his thoughts about Veterans Day.
Well, thank you, Hannah, and I want to give a shout out to Andrew. I don't know if anybody in the audience, I know that these guys over here remember, especially the Vietnam era, Jimi Hendrix do the Star Spangled Banner. So for you in the audience, your little homework assignment, once you get home, don't pull out your phones now, but look up on YouTube Jimi Hendrix playing the Star Spangled Banner, and it'll be very reminiscent of what Andrew performed earlier here today with America Beautiful. Thank you for that wonderful rendition. It's an honor to be here today and to represent the town of Palmer in the Massachusetts Senate and to partner with a great friend of the town of Palmer who wishes he could be here today, State Representative Todd Samola. He's over in Quabog, so we're doing dual duty between schools today, but he's ably represented today by his father, Smokey Samola, who is a veteran of the U.S. Navy. I'm going to back away from the microphone so we don't blow anybody's eardrums out. But I just wanted to share a few thoughts about Veterans Day and the deep connection that the wars that our country has fought with the town of Palmer. Right from the beginning, right during the American Revolution, Palmer was a pass-through area. Route 20, the old Boston Post Road, connected Western Massachusetts with the city of Boston. And if anybody remembers their history and their civics, Boston was under siege because the British were occupying Boston at the beginning of the American Revolution. Henry Knox, who later became the first Secretary of War, dragged numerous cannons across some pretty dangerous conditions across Western Massachusetts from Fort Ticonderoga to Boston in order to push the British out of Boston that was never to be occupied again by any outside force. They came right through the town of Palmer. My grandfather grew up here in Palmer. He was born in 1911. He was someone who grew up right off of 181, and he can remember when Palmer was a rail capital of Western Massachusetts, and remembered seeing soldiers go off on World War I, leaving the station right where Steaming Tender is today. My grandfather then went on to serve in the U.S. Army during World War II, in service that wasn't on the front lines, but as a mechanic. And I think what Mark said earlier, that need for service to preserve our democracy, to preserve our republic, is necessary on people giving back themselves, whether that's going into an elective office, whether that's giving back in their community, but most importantly, defending our nation as becoming a member of one of our armed services. So I challenge you, as we celebrate Veterans Day weekend, thank a veteran, but also think to yourself, if you're looking at service, if you're looking to do something that's bigger than oneself, look at our armed services. Earlier this week, I just met with the recruiting station for the U.S. Marine Corps, based right out of Westover Air Force Base, only about 25 minutes away. There are opportunities for each one of you to serve, but the armed services are essential to preserve our safety, our freedom, and the future of our republic. I wish all of you a happy Veterans Day, and to our veterans, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for our service. We in the legislature will do everything that we can to make sure Massachusetts is the best state to be a veteran in. Thank you again.
Tenth grader Amaya Lopez will now provide a history of the Korean War quilts. She will be accompanied by sixth grade quilt carriers Xavier Martin and Shiloh Kibbe.
A group of Palmer High School students designed this intricate and symbolic flag in honor of Palmer veterans who served and were killed in action during the Korean War, which occurred between North and South Korea from 1950 to 1953. It has been gifted to Palmer High School and will be proudly displayed in honor of those who lost their lives.
I would now like to welcome our National Honor Society members, including Beverly Williams, Gianna Perry, Ella Pear, Sean Trochet, Loretta Petrushevitz, Maya Cushing, and Bill Portello, who will now read the Veteran Code of Conduct. The Veteran Code of Conduct was created to be a North Star to guide veterans and assist them in continuing to serve with honor. Those who pledge to live by the code will be keeping the faith with their oaths, their country, and their fellow veterans.
I am an American veteran, standing with my fellow citizens to serve my country and our way of life. I remember and continue to honor my oaths to the Constitution.
I will always place my loyalties to the United States above political party, community, over self, and act in the best interest of all my fellow citizens.
As I have once defended all Americans, I will continue to stand for equality and dignity of all.
I hold myself and all servants of the public trust, including elected leaders, government servants, and law enforcement, to the highest moral, ethical, and professional standards. I will not take up arms against the lawful government or my fellow citizens, and will support the peaceful transition of power. I will use my voice, my vote, and the respect I have earned from my fellow citizens to build a more perfect union.
I will never forget that I am an American veteran, continuing to stand for the Constitution and all the rights it enshrines. Responsibility for my actions and dedication to the principles which made my country free. We are fortunate enough to have many talented individuals in our student body and staff. Please welcome the Tillman brothers, Mr. Burns, Mr. Holloway, Mr. Pasquarosa, Mr. Anderson, Alex Jaworski, and Andrew Haley. They will perform a song written by our own Mr. Burns entitled Forever in Our Hearts.
Snazzy with that tie.
I'm not going yet. I'm going to introduce it. You got a little time. Thank you, veterans. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for the school to let me play a little bit. Thank you for everyone backing me and playing with me. I've been asked to come up with a song every once in a while for this assembly, and it's always been a struggle to come up with something that's appropriate. There's a lot of songs about war, there's a lot of songs about losing people. A lot of times I felt like the songs were too political to take on in an assembly like this. We found a Carter family song one time, which was great. Coda Faded Blue is a Civil War song. And last year we did a Tillman song, that's why we're the Tillman brothers. And that was a song about World War II. The song bag from World War II is pretty deep, so you can usually find stuff there. Modern stuff is difficult. And so that was my impetus for writing something that maybe I could sing and believe in. It's a little more modern. And when I was writing this, it was really important for me to think about these assemblies and what I take away as a message, because to be honest, before I started teaching at Palmer, I didn't have a real good sense of why veterans were so important and what such a lifeblood to our democracy. It wasn't on my radar. So being a part of this community and learning the civics that we learn in these assemblies was really important to me. And it's the bedrock of our democracy. So it's been a great part of teaching here. I needed to mention in my song Iwo Jima, the Battle of Iwo Jima and the memorial, because our first assembly, if anyone can remember it, had a standing live Iwo Jima memorial with students. And it was started, I can't even remember the year. I mean, I think it was maybe when Mr. Conroe was principal, maybe Al Murray, I'm not sure, but it was Mrs. Janice Fountain's idea, and she came down to me one day and she kind of wrote me in. She goes, Mr. Burns, my dream is coming true. I'm gonna have a Veterans Assembly for Palmer High School. We didn't have anything then. And I was like, oh man, it sounds like I'm gonna get roped into something here. And she said, I got 6 kids who have an attention to serve, and I can give them credit if they're gonna be my human Iwo Jima memorial. And I'm like, it sounds great. Oh man, she's crazy. Sounds great. And and I need the art table as the pedestal for the figures. And I was like, you know, that's such a wonderful idea. And I was thinking, well, why not? And she said, we're gonna get the band and they're gonna play. We're gonna do it in the foyer. And that was the first one I remember. That was a good 25 years ago, folks. And so anyway, we got the kids, we put them in the pose. Hold that pose, man. They held it. Like, you're hired. And they got green stuff on their face for the event and dressed appropriately, and they're kind of off to the side in the foyer. The band was on this end here. And I think it was just Star Spangled Banner and maybe America the Beautiful. And it was just so cool. And it was like, okay, you know. And that was art. I'm an art teacher, so there was some art there. We were learning history, civics. We had some music in there. So it really took in a lot of different stuff. And it's been a great ride with this assembly, and I've always enjoyed playing. Like I said, it was hard coming up with the songs when I was asked to play. So I got this one entitled Forever in Your Heart, and I hope it works out, so we'll give it a shot.
our team, I'll raise our flag, we're the land where the buffalo roam. Buffalo roam. Here at home, on the mountain high, across the plain so wide. And here at home, Buffalo roam, at Yellowstone. Thank you, veterans.
Thank you so much, Tillman Brothers. We would now like to give a warm welcome to retired Air Force Master Sergeant Richard Breedy.
Good morning. Good morning. It's really cool to see so many people out here and just the positive nature of everybody. The ceremonies were great. I like the way the history has been implemented into it, so you find out why things have happened. Why is a great word. My grandfather's brother was a Pearl Harbor vet. My dad was a Korean Era vet. And I couldn't wait. I snuck into the Navy when I was 16. And they kicked me out pretty quick. I took my brother's social security number, his ASVAB scores. Next thing you know, I'm in Chicago, going to Great Lakes Naval Air Station, or basic training rather. Right after I graduated Minnetonka in '79, I joined up with the Air Force Reserve out of Westover. And we'll get into that in a minute too, but I've always felt some sort of connection with the military, so I joined the reserves. I already had a job and whatnot. And then a couple of years later, I got 2 in diapers. And I need that money now. And I bounced around, I did a bunch of different things. And you gotta remember, every time you're away, you're getting paid, you're getting actually college credits for what you are learning. Basic training is like 3 college credits for physical education. But I eventually became a loadmaster on the big airplanes out of Westover. And it was something that's been the best thing I've ever done. I've been everywhere but Antarctica. It was basically a good time. There were bad times. What I loved best was the friendships that I made, the camaraderie, the way you could put your trust into somebody. You're on that airplane with 10 other people. You better know what you're doing. You better be Johnny on the spot, or you're not going to have that job long. And we were able to make extra money. You know, for instance, every time we went what we would call downrange, which would be Iraq, Kuwait, all we had to do was break the airspace, and we got 30 days tax-free. One time we came in on August 31st and left on September 1st. Hey! So every month we try to get downrange for the benefits of that. And I'd get flight pay, hostile fire pay, eminent duty pay, eminent danger pay, all this stuff. And then being Kuwait City, I'm getting $95 a day to eat. I don't need that much. We'd be there a few days, get back to Germany, party time. But I would seriously consider checking out Westover. And they've got all branches out there right now. It's actually technically a joint reserve base. And it's one of 3 in the country where people can come over and put on these, you know, mock training scenarios. We got an area where there's buildings, stuff like that. But you'll always be able to find something interesting to do out there. And I've been doing it for so long, like I say, I couldn't imagine not doing it. But I will tell you one thing. All of us here, we signed up, we showed up. We wore dog tags. We have DD-214s, which is your discharge papers. And I'll tell you what, our oath never expires. Thank you.
Thank you. Our band will now play God Bless America. like to now ask each of our visiting veterans to please stand when we call your name. Our National Honor Society will present each of you with a flower of gratitude for your time and service protecting and honoring our country. Master Sergeant Rich Breedy, Air Force.
Sergeant First Class, Army, Christy Kapayek Fox.
IC-1, William Horvath, Navy, Junior Vice Commander, Post 130.
RM2, Navy, Richard Smola.
Staff Sergeant, Air Force, Teresa Hayden.
HM2, Navy, Mark Kachi.
Spec 5, Army, Sally Nay.
Spec 5, Army, AMVETS Commander Post 74, John Carperon.
CTM-2, Navy, my dad, Bill Partello.
Sergeant, United States Marines, Daniel Chica.
Spec 5, Army, Bill Burns.
Specialist, Army, AMVETS 1st Vice Commander, Post 74, Ray Bowdit.
Specialist, Army, Ron Isaac.
Airman, 1st Class, Air Force, Post Commander, AMVETS Post 74, Bill Rogers.
Senior Airman, E4, Air Force, Veteran Service Officer Palmer, Tina Broman.
Private, 1st Class, Army, Bill Griswold.
Chaplain, AMVETS Post 74, Richard Mata. Thank you for your service.
And then I got chased down by Miss Thomas first. Calm me down.
And Rick Fritz, Sergeant. Serve them. Okay, don't forget it.
PHS grade 9 through 12 band will now perform TAP.
Can we just go back to class?
Mrs. North to please come to the podium for closing remarks.
Thank you everyone for being here and sharing this extremely inspirational morning with us. Today's Veterans Day ceremony was motivating and encourages us to be better Americans. Thank you again to all the veterans for your service and dedication to our country. We are lucky for your sacrifice that enabled us our freedom. If everyone could please stand for the ceremonial salute to veterans with a performance of Salute to Freedom performed by Mr. Hubbard and the Palmer High School Band.